Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror media. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're gonna finish up Stranger Things 2, released to Netflix in 2017. Let's get back to the kills. We last left off with Will Byers in a bad way, and things aren't getting better for the little guy at Hawkins' lab.
Where's it hurt the most, Will?
Man, this poor kid just can't catch a break, and his poor mom can't catch any answers.
What is wrong with my boy?
She catches Bob up on all the season 1 stuff he missed, and apologizes that he's mixed up in their wild lives now. That's okay, Joyce, as long as y'all never forget his name.
Who is that?
It's Bob, dude. Steve drives to Dustin's house, blaring Queen, and breaks out his old friend the nail bat after Dustin says he'll need it for his dart. Too bad that molten son of a gun has successfully broken free of captivity. Damn it, Dustin. I told you it was weird that Dart had a Rita Hayworth poster. Now that darn Dart could be anywhere. Murray Bowman makes a copy of the tape Nancy made at Hawkins' lab, and together, he, Nancy, and Jonathan make a bunch of duplicates to mail to various newspapers. Hey, Murray, you getting these kids drunk in your basement? Little weird, dude.
Take my guest room.
Lot of weird, dude. When they tell him they're just friends, he laughs in their faces and says they're clearly in love. After all, they've got the strongest bond of all.
Shared trauma.
His armchair psychoanalysis is a bit off-putting, since he's essentially egging a couple of teens on to fuck.
Cut the bullshit and share the damn bag.
But his words affect them both deeply, and before you know it, Nancy and Jonathan are sucking face in a conspiracy theorist's basement. Romantic! They share an awkward breakfast the next morning with Bowman, who exhibits a lack of tact as well as an inability to properly get food into his mouth.
How was the pullout?
Sorry?
The sofa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was good.
I bet. Oops.
One of my favorite behind-the-scenes fun facts is that egg drop was accidental. The actors just rolled with it, though you can see Natalia Dyer start to laugh in the take. Lucas radios Dustin and is told where to meet him and Steve.
Steve Harrington?
Yeah, motherfucker, Steve the Hair Harrington. Before he goes there, he swings by Max's place, a supremely unwise move considering Billy's just inside doing supersets on his biceps and lungs. Lucas tells Max he has proof of everything he told her, and they're out of there before Billy can see what's going on. It's bike kid time! Hopper gets all the upside down hosed off of him before he's instructed to suit up and go exploring with Dr. Owens in a rickety cave elevator. Elecaver? They go down deep below, past a massive fissure, and Owen shows him their dilemma. The upside down is spreading out further and further, but they can't contain it with fires because it'll hurt that little boy Byers. Will is having a hard time recognizing anyone who's not his mom or Mike, and of course he's gonna remember Finn Wolfhard, kid was an it. They decide to test Will's reaction to some slug serum and quickly confirm that he's got a physical connection to the upside down.
It burns
Where?
everywhere!
Owens concludes that Will has some sort of virus, one that's using him to communicate to the rest of a giant hive mind.
The good news is that a virus can be cured.
Yeah, you know. Eventually, Steve and Dustin are walking along railroad tracks, chumming it up in more ways than one, as Harrington tries to give the younger boy relationship advice pertaining to Max.
The key with girls is just acting like you don't care.
Oh yeah, I forgot Steve Harrington's kinda dumb. He's also still reeling from his breakup with Nancy, so, you know, not in the best headspace to talk love lives. Still, it's sweet how much he wants to help Dustin, even sharing with him some hair care secrets.
Farrah Fawcett spray?
Yeah, Farrah Fawcett. You tell anyone I just told you that, and your ass is grassy.
The doctors at Hawkins' lab look at some Byers brain scans and see some bad news, but some of them just want to get back to burning the upside down to contain its spread.
And if it kills the boy?
Then quite frankly, Sam, it kills him.
Owens tells that guy to fuck off, and hopefully it won't even come to all of that, because Will just told Mike that he might know how to stop the shadow monster. Using photographs of his tunnel system map, Will figures out a likely location of the shadow monster, so a bunch of scientists arm themselves with guns and head into the tunnels to put an end to the upside down nuisance. Dustin takes Steve to the junkyard from season 1, and they're shortly joined by Lucas and Max, who Dustin is just so happy to see together. Really, it's Awesome, super cool. The four of them get to work fortifying a bus and rolling barrels around, hoping to lure the dreaded Dart to them so they can take care of him once and for all. Man, that friggin' bus fortress looks cozy as all hell, as long as no one farts in there. Dustin overplays the whole pretend not to care about Max thing, so she leaves him and climbs up to the roof of the bus. Over an eerie junkyard fog, she opens up to Lucas and talks about her troubled family life, including how Billy is abusive towards her. Awful to hear, but at least these two are forming a healthy relationship.
I like talking with you, Mad Max.
I like talking with you, Stalker.
They hear a demogorgic noise and spot themselves a demodog, but when the predatory pup doesn't take the bait, Steve steps outside to offer some encouragement, not realizing that Dart rolled in with the crew. Aw, these dog is a pack hunter, like a bunch of little demoraptors. The bus fortress holds, save for one exhaust port-sized sunroof, but something calls the demodogs away, just barely saving the lives of Steve, Dustin, and the scared lovebirds crushing on each other.
They're going somewhere.
They're going straight to where the Hawkins Lab scientists are, because it turns out those dudes weren't being led to an attack site. Instead, the shadow monster was using Will as a spy, and that little Benedict Bullcut led them straight into a trap. I like the difference in monsters between seasons 1 and 2. While the Demogorgon was frequently compared to a shark, a hungry animal acting on instinct, the shadow monster is a sentient being with plans and goals, even if we don't always understand them. Wide shots and radar blips both confirm that there are 7 Hawkins Lab scientists who get ambushed by demodogs and killed one by one, their flashlights falling to the ground as they die. Huh, something about this feels familiar, huh, Burke? Owens. And the bad news just keeps getting worse, because the demodogs keep on coming and are now climbing straight up into Hawkins Lab itself. What a super exciting time to cut to something completely different. Terry Ives is still repeating her version of the lost numbers, which has left her nose bloody and her daughter confused. 11 wants to find the other little girl from her mom's memories, and after she and her Aunt Becky discover some relevant files, Elle goes to look for her in the void. Ah, there she is, right at the corner of Nothing Avenue and Flaming Trash Boulevard. 11 overhears Becky calling the Hawkins PD for help, so she disappears with her aunt's credit cards, not interested in seeing Hopper again. She gets on a bus as a bit too on-the-nose needle drop of Bon Jovi's Runaway takes her next door to the land of Lincoln. Chicago is one big-ass motherfucking city compared to Hawkins, and it's actually a little jarring to see such a sprawling metropolis in Stranger Things. I can't say they nail it either. I like my 80s urban areas grimy and with way more smoke coming from manholes. Step it up now, Duffers! 11 eventually traverses the seedier parts of town and winds up at a warehouse where she runs into that overly 80s gang of punks, the ones who kicked this season off. Spiky-haired Axel pulls a spiky switchblade on the young girl, but then he sees spiders all over his hand and backs off. The spiders were just mind spiders, courtesy of Kali, who quickly learns that 11's got some superpowers too. And matching birth tattoos. Look at that.
Sister.
Never knew how much I missed you. Kali, aka 8, tells Jane, aka 11, that she should use her gifts freely, just like she uses hers.
I can make people see or not see whatever I choose.
Check it out, a Coachella butterfly! Hey, don't swat a Coachella fly and quit poking my face, God! The two of them bond immediately, because probably lonely being super science guinea pigs, and though Kali's crew makes fun of the newcomer, she tells them that her sister's powers could be useful.
She can find people without moving, with nothing but an image.
Kali introduces 11 to her band of merry misfits. Axel, we already know, Dottie is the material girl, Mick is their protector, and Funshine is their lovable warrior.
Nice to meet you, Miss Jane.
None of them have superpowers like Kali or Elle, but they are outcasts of society, and they take their frustrations out on the scientists who worked at Hawkins Lab.
You hurt the Batman?
Yeah, Elle. They fucking murder them in their doorways like they were Gal goddamn Bedecker. Kali says these people deserve to die for what they did to kids like them, and if Elle is willing to help, then all they need is a training montage to strengthen her force powers. Move that trailer now, girl. Do or do not. There is no try. Under Kali's direction, 11 channels anger from her memories and flexes her mind muscles in a showcase that gets those punks real excited. Elle takes a look at Kali's most wanted board and recognizes a dude who electroshocked her mom and Kali when she was young. Don't tase her, bro! 11 uses a picture of this guy, Ray Carroll, and figures out where he is doing her void search. Nice job, Elle. You just earned yourself a metropolitan makeover!
Bitchin'. bitchin'.
Hey, we try not to curse around her. She tends to just repeat things. The punks walk out to their van in slow motion, looking very intentionally like the Warriors from the 1979 film. I mentioned in the season 1 videos that this show doesn't depict the 80s as they actually were, but rather the 80s how they're portrayed and remembered in popular culture. Nowhere is that more apparent than in this episode, which many people think was made as a backdoor pilot, an episode of an established show meant to launch a spin-off series. Perhaps the Duffers wanted to make their own X-Men-like adventures starring the other numbered superheroes from Hawkins' lab. But critical and fan reaction to this episode was negative enough for them to drop it. Kali and her crew don't appear in season 3, and I don't know if we'll ever be seeing them again. They get to Ray's house and put on their best trick-or-treating faces, then telekineticize their way into his apartment. As Axel and Dottie rob him, Kali and Eleven confront Ray, played by Pruitt Taylor Vince, who had a small role at the end of Bird Box. Kali reminds him who they are, and the girls take turns beating him up, not listening to his Nuremberg defense of just following orders. He also offers to take them to Brenner.
Papa is gone.
No, he is alive.
And that, along with the Duffers confirming that he's still alive, is why I didn't include Brenner on the kill count last season. At Kali's urging, Eleven uses her powers to strangle Ray, though she stops when she sees a picture of his daughters, who Axel just found, calling the police. Since Kali doesn't believe in half measures, she tries to finish Ray off herself, but Eleven stops her with her mind. With the cops arriving, the punks are forced to flee, saving Ray from joining the kill count. Kali's not too pleased about that.
If you wanted to show mercy, that is your choice. But don't you ever take away mine.
Yeah, Elle might not want to piss off someone named after the Hindu goddess who's the destroyer of worlds. Back at Punktopia, Kali tells Eleven about how she escaped Hawkins' lab using her powers and has been a vigilante orphan ever since. But Elle might not want that kind of life. Even if it would supposedly avenge her mother, she might just want a life with friends who care about her and Papa police chiefs who dance. In the void, she sees Mike trying to warn the others about the incoming Demodogs, but her void visit is interrupted by a bunch of cops looking to cuff themselves some punks. Kali uses her powers to camouflage them, and they're able to get away, though not without shots being exchanged. Nothing a little magic wall can't fix, though. The punks are ready to hit the road, but since her friends are in danger, Eleven decides to go square and runs off on her own as the punks flee the police. Sorry for your loss, Kali, but Eleven belongs in Naptown. Okay, back to Stranger Things. The Demodogs have finished their ascent and are not very good boys at all. Calm down, little doggies. As Owens releases the cabin monsters, the dogs break through straight into Bedlam and corner a bunch of red shirts wearing white coats in an elevator. No need to assume anything here, folks. We get confirmation that those 6 people are dead. Dead by Dawn. That's my favorite Beagle Dead movie. Since Will's a little spy boy, Mike determines that they should put him to sleep and cause the shadow monster to lose its intel. But are we sure Will's not himself right now?
Your mom!
The real Will would never tell a yo mama joke.
Hold him down.
Yep, mouthing off to Joyce Byers, that's a needling. Hop shows up to rescue everyone and runs through the hectic hallways, witnessing one dude getting his face nommed on. Huh, just one? That's not too bad.
Oh my god.
What are you? Oh my god! Okay, editor Josh and I counted 15 bodies on these monitors, including a handful only shown for a few frames. We do the damn job, okay? The power goes out at Hawkins' lab, which also locks everyone inside with more dead people like these 4 in a hallway, along with the Demodogs who caused them. Though Hop wants to play the hero as per usual, this latest problem involves resetting a computer system using BASIC.
It's a computer programming language.
All right, teach it to me.
Shall I teach you French while I'm at it, Jim?
Sounds like this is more of a job for Super Bob.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, but is it, Bob? Because you're walking past a dead body right now, so, is it gonna be okay? Billy gets ready for his night listening to Kill 'Em All Metallica, but when his dad and stepmom come home and find Max missing, we get a good look as to where Billy gets his abusive tendencies from. Yo, Dad Stash, you're creating a cycle here. Knock it off! Though it doesn't excuse his actions, I like that the show contextualizes Billy's evilness. That's good character writing there. We get a Stand By Me Night Edition scene scene, wherein Steve lets slip that Dustin had been keeping Dart at his place, and the boys get into a little spat. Man, these friends are always fighting, huh? Steve hears an excuse to leave these angry adolescents, and they follow scary Demogorgon sounds to Hawkins' lab, which is where Nancy and Jonathan just arrived, having returned to Hawkins from their sex vacation in Murray Bowman's basement. Awkward! Bob's Boxer Browning basic mission takes him past 2 bodies that I already counted from the monitors as he turns the power back on and gets to the lab's computer system center. Because Bob's a badass, he rises to the occasion and resets the system.
Easy peasy.
Son of a bitch did it.
On the newly rebooted monitors, Owen sees a Demogorgon and a new body in a stairwell that's pretty close to Bob. Bob distracts the dogs away by triggering a sprinkler system, hoping to catch up with the others who are already out in the lobby, along with 6 new bodies for me to add to the count. As Owens guides Bob through the facility using the monitors, we see 6 new background bodies laying around in the halls and leaning up against the walls. After some minor setbacks, Bob finally gets out to the lobby where Joyce is waiting for him. Whew, he made it! Oh, come on! In a kill as inevitable as it is heartbreaking, Bob Newby becomes dog foodie. Thanks, I hate it. I said thanks, I hate it, Duffers. I didn't need this extended shot here. Shit. Bob Newby was always written to die, but originally it was going to happen a lot earlier in the season. As with many other characters, the casting influenced the writing, and because of the affable Sean Astin, the Duffers greatly expanded the role. His hero's death, evocative of Quince and Jaws, was going to be a bit more bloody before they toned it down, because come on man, that shit's sad. Also, although the Demodogs were obviously digital in the end, Sean Astin suggested they use a physical stand-in for his death scene based on his experience shooting Lord of the Rings. Staff writer Kate Treefry happened to be on set that day, and being the right size, jumped at the opportunity to stand in for a Demodog. Jonathan and Nancy pull up to the lab to save everyone from the Demodogs, and together they head back to the buyer's house so Joyce can have a good cry. Me too, Joyce, me too. And in case Bob's death wasn't sad enough already, Mike adds an extra dollop of pathos to the pile.
Did you guys know that Bob was the original founder of Hawkins AV?
Bob was OG. Mike, finally given something to do in this season, has the idea that if they defeat the shadow monster inside of Will, its destruction will stop all the Demodogs as well, since they're connected through the hive mind.
This is the thing that controls everything. It's the brain.
Like the Mind Flayer.
Finally, I can stop saying Shadow Monster and call it the frickin' Mind Flayer. The Mind Flayer, according to Dustin and D&D, is an ancient superior being who wants to use inferior creatures like humans to take over other dimensions. And the key to defeating it may be that tuckered out kid on the couch. Though Will Byers is a Will Spires, they figure he can't espionage if you don't know where he is, so they black out his shed and turn it into a GPS blocker. Can't sick Demodogs on someone if you don't know where they are. Great job, everyone. That little kid's gonna be totally lost when he regains consciousness. All right, wake up now, little kid.
Let me go! Let me go! Let me go! Let me go!
Huh, maybe let's put him back down again. His tantrum subsides and Joyce begins looking for the real Will Byers, recounting old stories with her burning mother's love. Jonathan jumps in with his own story, kind of looking like a Gorillaz character while he tells it, and Richie Tozier does the same.
I asked if you wanted to be my friend. And you said yes.
Though Will's words are still the Mind Flayers, Hop sees him tapping a message with his hand.
Hey, what is that?
Morse code.
Everyone knows but you, Steve. The Kinks score a group effort as everyone tries to interpret these buyers' beeps and dashes. But right as they learn that Will's telling them to close gate, Joyce's phone goes off, letting Will know where he is. Aw, man, they're gonna have a dog problem now for sure. Summoning the Demodogs? That's a needling. Everyone gathers in the living room with the weapons they're proficient in. Nice +1 doorknob there, Mike. And before long, a Demodog is thrown through the window. A dead Demodog! How could that have happened? Well, it wasn't 1 through 10, folks. It was motherfucking 11. Get an eyeful of that punk, Mike. He gets an armful as well when the two of them hug, which is a real nice moment. Just, watch the noseblood there. Mike gets mad at Hopper for keeping 11 away from him.
You're stupid, disgusting lies, you piece of shit!
But the police chief calms him down with a big old bear hug. Man, I would love a hug from David Harbour. After feeling Dustin's chompers and ice shouldering Max aside, 11 goes to the Byers boy boy's bedside, where she sees that he told them to close the gate. Since she's the one who left it open in the first place, she decides it's time to punk things up. And best get on it fast, Elm, because there's some doggies want to play. One potential problem, though, is if they close the gate and kill the Mind Flayer, it might kill Will too, since right now they're doing a sort of joint custody thing with his body. Their solution is to make the Mind Flayer leave Will's body by making it less hospitable, and that means they're gonna have to warm that boy up. Steve tells Nancy to go help Jonathan with the task because he realizes they're together now. And you know what?
It's okay, Nancy. It's okay.
Steve Harrington is such a good character. I love that guy. Nancy, Joyce, and Jonathan leave with Will as Hopper takes 11 to go close the gate at Hawkins' lab. And everyone else, stay at the Byers' house. Cool. Maybe take care of that dead Demodog 11 left lying around. For this shot, Stustin is handling a practical Demodog head and paw that were 3D printed by the Graphs, and that I would kill to get my hands on. Karen Wheeler has her bubble-soaking good times interrupted by an abusive prick at her door, who instantly charms the MILF out of her.
I'm Nancy's mother.
No.
Yes.
Mrs. Wheeler.
Don't blame Karen, though. I mean, the dude literally looks like her book cover hunk come to life. Also, you know, she's married to Ted, the guy who lives his life from a lazy boy. Billy says he's looking for Max and Lucas, and Karen gives him directions to the Byers' house to find them. She hates to see him go, but she loves to watch him leave. Seems like all the ladies are fond of costume designer Kim Wilcox's work, who had to find the perfect tight retro jeans for Dacre Montgomery to wear. On their way to Hawkins' lab, Eleven tells Hopper that she went to see her mom. He apologizes for lying and saying that her mom was gone, and admits that he's just scared of losing her like he lost his daughter Sarah. Since he can't really argue against the whole dead daughter thing, the two of them make up.
I don't hate it, by the way. This whole look.
I think you're in the minority there, Chief.
Okay.
Mike's getting restless at the Byers' house and decides that if they distract the Demodogs, it'll help out 11 at Hawkins' lab. Steve, nominally in charge, says that they should just stay put. But dude, you've got bigger problems to deal with, because Billy just rolled up in his Camaro, and these two have already been quarreling at school, Billy getting his sweat all over Steve when he's not too busy making sweet trick shots. That shot was actually a big deal for Dacre Montgomery, who didn't play a lot of basketball in real life and who was trained by the guy who played their coach in the show. Everyone was impressed when he made that under the leg shot.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Billy says he's looking for Max, and he knows that she's there because he can see her through the window right now.
Oh, shit.
That moment is so dumb and lazy to me. These kids would be smarter than to sitcom pose at the window for Billy to see them. Billy pushes Steve down and steps inside to beat some adolescent ass. He's just about to pummel Lucas when Steve steps in and interferes.
Steve!
Oh man, you don't want him to laugh after you hit him. That's scary as hell. Steve tries his best, but Billy fights dirty, hitting him with a plate that didn't properly break away on set, giving Joe Keery an unpleasant surprise. With Steve on the ground, Billy begins pummeling him in a way you always see in movies and TV shows, even though, like, wouldn't that kill the person getting hit? Max doesn't want to find out, so she grabs a sedative they had used for Will. Trying to kill Steve Harrington? Oh, you better believe that's a needling. With some coaxing, Max gets Billy to agree to leave them alone, then nabs his car keys so they can go on and get. A somehow not brain-damaged Steve comes to and gets some real talk from his new best friend.
He kicked your ass, but you put up with it fine, buddy, okay?
Thanks, Dusty, but how's that 13-year-old driving? Ah, the old block under the shoe trick. Yeah, sure. What could go wrong? Nancy and the Byers family head to Hopper's cabin to try and deflay Will, once again requiring him to not know where he is. They strap him down and turn up the heat by means both natural and electric, which wakes the boy up in a sweaty panic. He starts screaming about how much it hurts, but Joyce wants her baby back, so she just turns the heat up. That causes Mind Flayer Will to go all the rage carry too, and he breaks from his restraints to grab at Joyce. Hop and 11 get to Hawkins' lab, a place that doesn't have the best memories for her. Doesn't help that there's a chorus of demon dogs inside. At the bottom of a stairwell, Hopper finds Owens with an injured leg. Since it turns out Owens isn't a total son of a bitch, Hopper fixes him up and introduces him to Eleven.
Maybe when this is all said and done, maybe you could help her out too, you know?
How's that sound, Doc? Think it over. Here's a gun. Max drives the gang to the pumpkin patch where Hopper entered the upside-down tunnels, and although Steve's still trying to stop this whole thing, Dustin tells him to just buckle up for the ride.
Now, I know you promised Nance that you would keep us safe. So keep us safe.
Steve takes his advice and takes the lead in the tunnels, a spurty location that was at least partially a physical practical set. Production designer Chris Trujillo built 80,000 square feet of these tunnels on a soundstage, making them fleshy and gross to evoke internal organs. The setting was then enhanced by visual effects that added moving vines and all those spores, which kind of function like the Zerg's creep in StarCraft. They're seeding more upside down as they spread further outward. The party makes its way to a central hub, and, hoping to bring the Demodogs their way, start a fire.
Light her up.
Cool guy lighter flick. Everything starts to happen at once. Will's family and Nance try to fend him off as he gets more wolf-man-y. Hop prepares to pop off at some Demodogs in their way, and Steve tosses his lighter into the fuel. The resultant fire affects the entire hive mind, including Will and all those Demodogs. So, good job, Mike. Your plan worked. Now get the hell out of there. The Mind Flayer exits Will's body. Nanobots, away! Which finally returns young Will to his mother Joyce. Son! And don't forget Jonathan. Hug me, brother! With Will no longer in danger, Jonathan tells Hopper to close the gate, so he and Eleven descend that rickety elevator, ready to season finale this bitch. Alright, Eleven, show this Mind Flayer that you ain't no punk, no matter how much you look like one. She thinks back to Kali telling her how to use her powers, I guess trying to make that episode matter or something, and draws on her anger to close the massive gate. Elle had better hate in a hurry, cause in the tunnels, her friends are fleeing Demodogs. In fact, one very specific Demodog.
Dart.
Dustin knows Dart loved that nougat, so he's able to appease the dog long enough for them to step away. But I hope you brought enough for the whole class! Actually, the other dogs run right past Dustin and Steve, because they've got a bigger fish to fry.
11.
Elle's still trying to close the gate when the Demodogs start leaping towards the elevator like this was the House of the Dead. Make sure to shoot off screen to reload, Chief. Good thing Eleven's having herself a Make Me Mad memory montage. It allows her to rise into the air and fend off the Mind Flayer as it comes at her with a tendril of ashy particles. The final boss battle took place in the only fully CG environment of the season, with visual effects done by Atomic Fiction, who also handled things like the upside-down school hallways and the disappearing into dust mom that Eleven encountered in the void. The Mind Flayer showdown was filmed on a giant soundstage, with Millie Bobby Brown and David Harbour inside a cage suspended from the ceiling, and surrounded by 3 giant blue screen panels that could be rolled around. Seems pretty cool to shoot, although with the cage getting jerked around to emulate the Demodog attacks, and a wire harness lifting her up for her superpower ending, Millie Bobby Brown ended up getting nauseous while filming the scene. Eleven defeats the Mind Flayer and closes the gate, then collapses safely in the elevator, while the Demodogs collapse and fall down the chasm to their deaths. Poor little doggies. Oh, don't show us Dart dying, what the fuck? Hopper holds Eleven and tells her that she did good. Good enough to earn a denouement. It's 1 month later, and Hawkins' lab has been closed, thanks to Murray Bowman's story of radiation killing Barb Holland. Glad her parents got some closure. In a surprising move for anyone who's ever seen Aliens, Owens sticks to his word and gives Hopper a birth certificate for Eleven, one that says Hopper is her legal father now. Perhaps even more surprising is that Billy has kept his word as well, leaving Max alone as she gets ready for the big snowball dance. Everyone's getting ready for the snowball, in fact. Getting pics and learning dance steps and spraying hair. Spraying a lot of hair. Damn, Dustin. Uncle Steve got you styling.
You look like $1 million.
Yeah.
And you're gonna slam dead.
Like a lion.
Dustin swaggers into the snowball with his new do and some matching confidence, just in time for a slow song courtesy of Ms. Cyndi Lauper. Lucas stumbles through asking Max to dance,
So smooth.
but gets there in the end. And after Will finds a partner too, Dustin knows it's his turn to try.
Shall we?
No thanks.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt. Aw, and he gets a double heart trouncing? Dustin Henderson don't deserve this pain. Thankfully, Nancy Wheeler is a total effing sweetheart and offers her hand to a teary Dustin so they can dance.
No. Out of all my brother's friends, you're my favorite.
Man, I love this moment. It ties back to a scene from the very first episode of the show, wherein Dustin offered Nancy pizza, only for her to slam a door in his face. I like the specificity of their relationship. That just leaves Mike, and lucky for him, 11 walks in, right as the police start up the most stalkery pop song to ever chart until the Plain White T's came along. With her new birth certificate, 11's a real girl, and can go out in public and dance with boys. All the boys are dancing and kissing. The kid actors were predictably nervous about these scenes, especially since, for some of them, it'd be their first kiss. Finn Wolfhard tried to make things easier for Brown by telling her under his breath when he was making his move.
We're dancing, and Finn goes like this. I swear he's like a ventriloquist. He was like, okay, I'm coming in.
Yeah, I swear to God. If you look closely, I'm pretty sure you can see me talking to her.
All in all, it's a great night for everyone, but that's to be expected in the magical world of the snowball. At least in the right side up version. The upside down snowball needs some serious decoration work and a no mind flayer policy, because you know that mofo is gonna try to spike the punch. How many Stranger Things were there when things equals body and stranger equals dead? Let's find out and get to the numbers. No, I said the numbers, not the void. Come on. Where am I even supposed to go in here? And why is it always so wet? Man. I counted 50 kills in Stranger Things 2, almost 3 times as many as the first season. Best I could tell, the victims consisted of 25 men, 5 women, and 20 indeterminate victims who were all Hawkins Lab employees on monitors and such. With a season of 9 episodes, that means each episode had an average of just over 5.5 kills. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Bob Newby, because it was so damn upsetting. How you about to do us like that, Duffers? That man went to Mordor and back! Dull machete for lamest kill will go to any of the various dead bodies seen laying around Hawkins' lab. Those corpses need to get more creative. And that's it. Stranger Things 2 came out in 2017, about 15 months after the first season premiered. Tomorrow's Halloween, and my treat for you is Idle Hands. But until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count. I want to thank some patrons like Tanner Jackman, Mellow Mark, Ethan Lee Brown, Shay, and David Menke. This one was real tough to get out in time. I had all my editors working simultaneously on both videos. I have not slept in so long, but I will soon. And it's worth it to give y'all Halloween treats. And also my channel's ad revenue goes way up in October, and I have that mortgage to pay. Thanks everyone, be good people.